The wealth of a pure heart. In Lusaka land where gold paved the streets of the rich and hunger haunted the poor, there lived a woman named Lady Marembi, a widow of immense fortune, known not only for her beauty but for her generous heart. Her late husband, a merchant of great success, left her lands, businesses, and endless treasures. But even with all her wealth, Lady Marembi was lonely. Many suitors came with silk tongues and golden promises, but she saw greed in their eyes. She wanted a man who had no riches, but possessed one thing: honesty. In the same kingdom lived a man named Daudi, a humble potter who worked with cracked hands and a quiet smile. He had nothing but a mat in a small hut and a dying mother he cared for. One day, Lady Marembi visited the village market in disguise. Her eyes fell upon Daudi, who returned a customer's coin, saying she had overpaid. Intrigued by his act, she watched him for weeks, learning of his struggles, his sincerity, and his humility. Eventually, she revealed herself and, to everyone's shock, proposed marriage. Daudi, stunned and hesitant, agreed, believing fate had smiled upon him. Their wedding was the talk of the kingdom. The poor called it a fairy tale, the rich called it madness. For a while, the marriage seemed perfect. Lady Marembi showered Daudi with respect, love, and trust. She gave him keys to her wealth, access to her estates, and a seat among her advisers. But in the shadows of her mansion, Daudi's heart grew restless. He had lived in poverty for too long. The taste of silk sheets and roasted meat twisted his soul with greed. Soon, Daudi began to plot. If Lady Marembi died, all her wealth would be his. He started with poison in her tea, but she never drank it, always offering it to her loyal maid first. Then he tried luring her into a forest under the pretense of a picnic, where he had dug a deep pit covered with leaves. But wild animals arrived fast, ruining his plan. Lady Marembi thought it all coincidence, even laughed at their adventures. But Daudi's failures made him desperate. He paid a thief to break in and stage a robbery gone wrong, but the thief turned coward and confessed to the guards. That was the first time suspicion crept into Marembi's mind. She said nothing but began watching him closely. She noticed how he never flinched when danger approached her, how he encouraged risky ventures, how he never said, "Be careful," anymore. Her heart broke, but she kept silent, for truth reveals itself in time. One night, Daudi disguised himself and set fire to the stables where Lady Marembi usually walked in the evenings. He had watched her pattern for weeks. But that very day, a sick servant delayed her, asking for help. She arrived only after the fire had been discovered. Guards found a hidden dagger and a torn piece of cloth near the flames, evidence of a rushed escape. Lady Marembi summoned the royal mage to set traps of truth. She ordered all doors locked during the next festival, when everyone would be away. Then she faked a letter stating she had inherited a new gold mine far away and would leave Daudi in charge. Excited, Daudi celebrated alone, drinking himself to sleep in her absence. But the guards, hidden within the mansion, found him attempting to open her secret vault using a key he had forged. Now caught red-handed, Daudi was brought before Lady Marembi in chains. He cried and begged, saying he loved her and was only tempted. But she stood tall and said, "You were poor and honest. I loved the poor man, not the greedy one you've become." The people of the kingdom wept, for they had believed in their love. But Marembi, though wounded, did not let bitterness take her heart. She stripped Dowdy of all wealth and returned him to the village with only the clothes he wore. But she ensured his mother was cared for until her last breath. "Let him live," she said, "and let him remember that honesty is wealth only if it remains." Lady Marembi never remarried. Instead, she turned her palace into a home for orphans and widows. Her tale became a lesson passed down through generations, that true riches lie in the heart and that betrayal turns even the brightest gold into dust.